Hello, and welcome back to the Strive305 High School Economic Fellowship podcast. I'm Clint John, your host and executive director of Virtutum Populo Incorporated. Today, I'm joined by a titan of American journalism and one of Florida's most fierce champions for children and early childhood education. During his tenure as publisher of Miami Herald, the paper earned 5 Pulitzer Prizes. But his legacy goes far beyond the newsroom. He led the statewide campaigns for the Children's Trust and pre-K for 4-year-olds, founded the Children's Movement of Florida, and has dedicated his life to ensuring every child gets a fair start. Please welcome Mr. David Lawrence Jr. Welcome to the show, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for joining me. So, Mr. Lawrence, during your time leading the Miami Herald and the Detroit Free Press, journalism held a very specific place in holding public institutions accountable. As high school fellows navigate an era of fast media and misinformation, what core principle from your newsroom career must young civic leaders preserve today to build authentic public trust?
You need to get your information from a lot of different places and then decide what you think makes sense. And it's tough because the newspaper business is not what it used to be as a central source. Print journalism is in terrible trouble generally. Most people are now using digital rather than print. There is a difference when you turn pages and so forth and see things you might not have thought about at all. People have decided I'm an MSNBC person or a Fox person or whatever. That's not good enough. You need to get your information from a bunch of different places. So I'm on a bunch of apps. I get 3 newspapers daily at home in print. I'm looking all day at various things. To be honest, I don't watch TV news anymore because I'm tired of people crapping on one another. We have a country of 350 million people. We need to figure out how to listen to one another and talk with one another. It doesn't mean we need to agree. I work with a bunch of people I might not vote for. But you got a country where what we call minorities in this country will, in the next relatively few years, be in the majority. We need to make the country work for everyone. That's not socialism. That's not communism. It's basic American decency. It's what the blessing of this country is. We have been an idealistic people. We've made our full share of mistakes, history would tell us. And if we lose idealism, we've lost the very core of what makes this country special. It's not that we have more guns and bullets than anybody else. It's not because we have more money than anybody else, which we do. It's about country overcoming certain challenges. Racism happens to be one. You'll never diminish racism until you confront yourself, because clearly people were not born with this crap in their soul. God didn't give people racism. And I've been in 56 countries. I've never been in a country without racism. But that's only one thing. Do women get their full and fair shake in this country? I don't think so. And I'm not for quotas. I do believe that I need to be attentive. I do believe I need to surround myself with people who are smarter than I am, have different perspectives, and so forth.
That's awesome. I'm happy to see you talk about the American dream. I know a few weeks ago we served on a panel together at Miami-Dade College with Miami-Dade College President Primariega, Mayor of Doral, Christy Fraga, and I know that Amerigo, the film, was really touching and about the American dream and how it's harder to attain now than ever. You've covered world leaders and local political battles alike. Looking back at Miami's transformation since you arrived in 1989, what has surprised you most about the city's economic and cultural evolution?
Well, I'm not sure that the word surprise would fit me. I certainly have seen evolution. I've been in this community now for 37 years. But if you even looked at the last 5 years in Miami, greater Miami, you would see extraordinary change. We've got a heck of a problem with affordability of housing. We have 15,000 public school teachers serving 200,000 plus children. Well, how many of your teachers in high school can afford to buy a home? Buying a home was part of the American dream. It's a tough dream to achieve here. We live in a community that an extraordinary number of folks are from somewhere else. Could be another country. 53% of the people who live in Miami-Dade, with its population of 2.7 million, came from another country. First generation came from another country. If I were still in Detroit, I would probably use Black and African American interchangeably. I wouldn't do that in Miami. We've got an extraordinary number of people who are Black, people of color who may have a different view because they come from Jamaica or Haiti or wherever else it might be. No community is monolithic. Non-Hispanic white, which I would fulfill the definition of, non-Hispanic white is 15% of the 2.7 million people, but only 12% of the 30,000 plus babies who were born that year. We're in constant change. We're a get-rich-quick place, therefore we're a get-poor-quick place. So in 2008, when the Great Recession occurs, boy, there was a lot of reason to worry because we are a get-rich-quick place. That's the story of Miami. That's the story of Coral Gables and so forth and so on. But we were aided and abetted because so many people wanted to be here. And now we've got a problem about immigration and justice. And I don't know of anyone who would say, let everybody come here. I'm not in favor of that. But I am in favor of a process that would let people come. This is an immigrant community in many ways, first or second generation. Chances are immigrants work harder than maybe most of the rest of us. And they do pay taxes. They work real hard, make a difference, and some of them are the great success stories of this community and of this country. So what I'm asking for is due process, a sense of justice. Imagine being Haitian at this point. I've been to Haiti a number of times. I have a school that I founded there. I know it fairly well. Just imagine being from Haiti now and TPS. And we need to do something that doesn't let everybody in, but has a soul of justice and decency, et cetera. That's the sort of people we want to be.
Yeah. I recently learned a statement that runs deep in the veins of India, and it says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And it translates to English, the world is truly one family. And so we separate ourselves into borders and countries, but it's super important that if someone sees opportunity somewhere else, there is a process for them to attain that.
Well, the greatness of this country is actually most of the time, a moral greatness. We wanted to be a good people. So people come here, yes, for economic freedom, but they also come here because they believe in what made this country so great. And we've overcome all kinds of things. We had, when the Irish came here in the 1850s, we thought stupidly and wrongly that they were stupid and drinkers and Catholic to boot. And then the Italians come here, and Eastern European Jews, and black people have been coming here since 1620, starting in Jamestown with people who weren't looking forward to being here in any way. We fought a civil war in which 750,000 Americans died in a country of 32 million people. Yeah. You want to make this country work? Be interested in everybody. be interested in learning about other people, understanding different cultures. The biggest challenge in Miami, to some degree, is culture. One of my tests for people is, whom did you have in your home in the last 6 months? So many of us are so much more comfortable with people who look like ourselves, act like ourselves, etc. Miami has an opportunity to show people we can do better than that. How do we live together, work together, care about each other, and perhaps vote quite differently?
Yeah. Early learning sets, I'm sure you know, early learning sets a successful life. It sets a trajectory for a successful life. And so Virtutum Populo, while we may not educate ages 0 through 5 about civics, we're educating students who are in early stages of adolescence about civics. Our founder came here from Cuba, where there is really no democracy. And so he wanted to ensure that those who were either born here in America are grateful for the promise of democracy here, and those that immigrate here get to indulge fully in the democracy that is offered to them. So we do work with early learning, maybe not with early reading from 0 through 5, but I just want to talk a little bit.
So early learning, you're 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 69 years older than you are. You're going to see an ever-changing world, as I've seen an ever-changing world. 85% of brain growth occurs by the age of 3. Language development in the first 18 months is really critical. Having a nurturing, knowledgeable, caregiving parent or caregiver is crucial. Half the children who enter kindergarten in Florida, which would be 200,000 plus people, are not ready for kindergarten. Now just imagine what happens. You're not ready for kindergarten, and a bunch of other kids in the class are, and the teacher decides, because you're acting up and out, because you can't keep up, it doesn't make sense to you.
Get left behind.
And the teacher decides, this guy's a troublemaker. Every child in America, or the world for that matter, deserves a chance to fulfill his or her potential.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean we all have the same potential, but it's tragic. Are you nervous from time to time?
Yeah, everyone is.
Okay. Everyone should be nervous, a little bit insecure. If you could use your insecurities and have enough sense of security, you can do great things. There's great power within yourself, within each of us. But you got to have people who believe in you. Right. And you got to believe in yourself. And an American tragedy is a child in kindergarten or first grade. I can't do this work. Everybody else seems to know what they're doing. I don't. And then you act up and out, and a teacher decides, the guy's a troublemaker, the young woman is a troublemaker, and so forth. We can do better than that. If you have we know statistically, if you have 100 children at the end of first grade really don't get it at all on reading, at the end of fourth grade, 88 of the 100 are in the same boat. We've got to do better than that.
Wow. And there was actually a study, and thank you for kickstarting this early childhood conversation. I do have one more question from one of our fellows on early childhood, so thank you for an awesome kickstart to that. But I read an article the other day where if you cannot read on grade level by third grade, money is allocated to building a prison cell in your community.
That actually is a urban myth.
Okay,
I've heard this for years and years. It's
an
urban myth.
That.
But there is some truth to it. The reality is, if you don't get the early years right, you got a very good chance of getting none of the years right. And life is not just about graduating from high school. Life's about the ability to use basic skills, beginning with the reading and propelling that to understand math and a bunch of other topics. So the first several years, you mentioned third grade, are spent in in theory at least, learning to read. And then the years are spent in, what do I do with this skill? And you do all kinds of great things.
Okay. So it's more of a prediction for...
Yeah, well, if you went to prison, and I've been in jails and prisons. If you went to prison, you would see folks who, an enormous percentage of them, are illiterate.
Okay.
And then just imagine once you get out of prison, you're tagged by society. We like to talk about a second chance for people, but not all of us are quite on. And, this is not a religious statement, but I love the phrase, what would Jesus do? Mm. And you don't need to be Christian or Catholic to believe in that. And frankly, we do a lot of different things different if we really rose to meet the expectations we ought to have and others ought to have of us.
For sure. So you led the charge for the Children's Trust in 2002 and 2008, securing dedicated local tax revenue for children's prevention and early intervention. When you were building those broad coalitions across business and political lines, how did you navigate political resistance to get leaders to commit to real capital in Florida's children?
Well, the power in this community is not the power to tell people what to do. Mm. The power is to be able to convene people. Mm. And so this is about everyone's child. You cannot build a movement based on those people, those children. The civil rights movement was in some degree about minorities, black people, etc. But the civil rights movement actually really was about an American sense of equity. It's about all of us. And so the power that I had, it's not power that's maybe conventional, was to bring a lot of different people together. And what do we want for the future of this community? The Children's Trust this year in Miami-Dade County will invest $237 million in programs for children and families. And it had first been tried under a different name in 1988 by the then Dade State Attorney. We were called Dade County then, who later became Attorney General of the United States, Janet Reno. Okay. And she argued we ought to help kids over here, here, and here, and it failed 2-1. I argued something very different. The same principles that raised my 5 children, the right blend of health and education and nurturing and love. That's what all kids need. And of course, they need as well not only growth cognitively, intellectually, physically, but social, emotional development. There's something that's worrisome that in this world is a reliance on this for information, some of which is desperately wrong. Mm-hmm. And if you have kids pounding on these machines instead of playing at age 4 with other kids, you're going to develop a quite different world and a painful world.
For sure. Mr. Lawrence, your impact on our state is immeasurable. Before we wrap up our core conversation, I'd like to put all of our guests, I always like to put all of our distinguished guests in the hot seat.
So you're trying to be hurtful to me now?
No.
Okay, we'll just check.
We call it Strive305 Rapid Fire. And so 60 seconds on the clock, and I'm going to ask you a few fun questions. Just tell me the first answer that comes to your mind. Your favorite Miami neighborhood to walk around?
Coral Gables.
Coral Gables. The single most important book every young leader should read?
A really good book about how Abraham Lincoln grew all his life.
Print newspapers or digital apps? I know what you're going to say.
Well, I use digital myself. Okay. I have several different apps that I use. But I also think there's something good about looking through the pages of a magazine or a newspaper.
Okay. What is one thing about Miami today that would shock the David Lawrence of 1989?
how damned expensive it is here for people.
Tell me about it.
We have a hell of a problem of affordability. The American dream classically was work hard, eventually get to buy a home, children grow up, they get to do better things, more things than you do. This community, beyond other problems such as climate, that's not a small problem, very significant problem of giving people a fair chance to build real lives, build real homes. And when you're buying a home for $8 million or $10 million or $30 million or $125 million, these are all real examples. What about the rest of the people? I'm not for leveling things. That would be communism. I am for everybody having a real chance to succeed in America.
Your favorite go-to meal in South Florida?
Go-to meal?
Yeah.
I was managing editor of a newspaper when I was 27, so I went out an enormous number of meals, and food simply isn't right at the top of any of my lists.
Okay, sounds great. And last one, in one word, what does justice mean to you?
Decency.
Decency. Mr. Lawrence, thank you so much for giving your time, your wisdom, and your decades of relentless advocacy to our community and to our podcast today. What's one word of inspiration you'd like to leave for our young leaders today?
Love.
Love.
Tell people you love them. It's not a management technique. You're not going to be the person you need to be if you don't have love and you don't express love to other people. Life can go so quickly. Tell your mom, your dad, your siblings, other people you love them. People need love.
Wow.
Grow up without love, you're a very incomplete human being.
That's so powerful. To our listeners, you just heard from a leader who proved that civil rights, early education, and journalism aren't separate silos. They are the foundation of a healthy democracy. To learn more about David Lawrence Jr.'s work, check out the Children's Movement of Florida at childrensmovementflorida.org or pick up his memoir, A Dedicated Life. Be sure to subscribe to Miami Community Newspapers and to follow Virtutum Populo across all platforms, and visit virtutumpopulo.org to see how our high school fellows are shaping local policy. Until next time, keep leading with impact. I'm Clint John Jr., and that was another episode of your Strive305 High School Economic Fellowship podcast. Toodaloo.